Hey, everybody, it's Ben and Rob from Edge of Wonder. Well, the missing F-35 jet has been found. The pilot safely ejected after a mishap happened mid-flight, but the $100 million plane's disappearance was initially a mystery.
Which is the $100 million question. What happened to it? Was it hacked by another country? Did AI take over the jet? Were the contents somehow important? Also, we found the crash location, and after looking at it, we have questions. So we'll present what we found tonight for you guys.
Outside of speculation about this particular plane, though, many other missing planes have encountered strange scenarios over the years. Ever heard about the pilot who somehow experienced a time slip, teleporting to another time period, then coming back with a few hours lost?
Yeah, and if your mind goes to aliens with any of these stories, you'll be interested in the latest updates about the alien bodies presented to the Mexican Congress and what a CT scan of their anatomies turned up.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for that. Join us on this Edge of Wonder live show for discussions about all of this, plus a Rise.tv exclusive Q&A and group meditation / prayer. We'll see you out
on the edge.
Ben, how you doing?
Good, Rob.
Everybody at home. Yep, go ahead, Ben. You're gonna.
I was just gonna say, if you're listening to our Edge of Wonder podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere else, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. And also, please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on all the social media platforms, wherever we are. All right, how you doing, Rob?
Yeah, good. Just like clockwork, as soon as we started the show, Google decided to sign me out of our docs.
I don't know why that happens a lot. It's
like clockwork, and it never happens. It didn't happen for a really long time, but then it started happening again.
You know what, though? Every Google account I had got, including my house with the AC unit, I got signed out of everything. So I don't know if like some security issue, if that happens or what. Anyway, it was kind of weird. So I had to
I'm blaming everything on the aliens these days.
Yeah, me too.
That or puckwudgies, but no one really knows what those are.
Or Furbies.
Yeah. Furbies are the modern day puckwudgies.
I don't even know what are those.
Puckwudgies? Oh, you know, over in the Bridgewater Triangle, which is over in like Massachusetts. I actually grew up right across from this thing. In the woods in this area, there are reports of these, like, they're almost like tiny mini Bigfoot with little pot bellies. And they, like, the Native Americans have all kinds of stories about them. But in modern times, people have spotted these things in the woods, coming out of the woods, speaking to them and stuff. And it's like, in the past, they were considered to be these sort of tricksters and stuff, kind of like other fae or fairies. But these are, just a separate type of woodland creature that's really weird. And we had some episodes on our metaphysical where we actually talk about these things and look into them, because it's like, they're just weird. Like, of the creatures that are in the United States, like puckwudgies are up there as like the most curious. Yeah, like in their name. I can imagine Native Americans saying puckwudgies, like, but it's a little
this
bit
is not puke wudgies.
Yes, puke-wudgies are basically what we would give kids until they puked in the 4th grade. Like, you'd give them a wedgie until they puked. Puke-wudgies.
Oh, man. Crazy. All right. Why don't we get into this missing jet? Because this is super weird.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's been kind of following this. So, quick rundown, basically. So there's 2 jets that were flying. They took off from an airbase, and I can't remember the exact name of the airbase in South Carolina. All of a sudden, one pilot ejected, and the jet was still on autopilot, and it just kept on flying. And then they lost contact with the jet, and the transponder stopped working. So then all of a sudden there was a post asking the public to help find this thing. This is the original post, and it was saying like this is like the flight path or where it could be, which looks like a jumbled mess.
It looks like a little kid drew that flight path. He like got on there and he was like, "Look, Dad," is like the Air Force captain or whatever.
It's like ridiculous. The U.S. military is searching for a missing F-35B in South Carolina after a pilot ejected yesterday, and the jet kept flying.
Is like this track that it could have gone is like probably like $1 million in jet fuel.
Seriously,
like so much money in jet fuel.
Just doesn't make any sense at all. Well, we're gonna get into a lot of this, but okay. So then, I guess they came out and were like, okay, we found the remains of the jet. It was about 100 miles northeast of the air base where it took off. It's the Joint Base Charleston is Marine Corps Air Station is where it flew from, and it's just so strange. So then they released today. So this is a video of the wreckage that supposedly they found.
And so they found it wrecked.
That's basically this was released officially by the Air Force or the military.
So where's the evidence of the plane?
That's what everyone.
For all we know, a puckwudgie pushed these.
That's what everyone is asking. Where is the plane? They said it just disintegrated when it hit the ground.
But no.
Yes.
Like they're literally. Why would they make a plane that like a normal jet airliner? Maybe, but like, and even then you'd find wreckage, but a jet fighter that like Lockheed Martin made with the type of steel that they made is just going to disintegrate.
This is what, so that here's more video of it. And honestly, like we have no idea really what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for showing us mounds of dirt and downed trees. Like, show us the actual plane.
Well, what's interesting is that the military didn't give an exact location of where it was. They just said it was in the Williamsburg County, which is like northeast of where, about 2 hours northeast of where the plane originally took off.
Okay, so this is in South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah. It's kind of close to Myrtle Beach. Okay, there's some smoke there. I mean, that could be anything.
Yeah, throw a couple of holes in that dirt pile over there we just made.
Yeah. So I spent some time today, because I found an article that talked about the road closures in this area where the jet supposedly crashed. And it said, for example, it's like if traffic traveling north on Old Georgetown Road should make a right on Midway, left on Baptist, left on Bartles Road, and then right again on Old Georgetown Road to avoid the closure area.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, that's the article that has it. So Lindsay, I'm going to show my screen because I have, let's see, the Google Maps. Is that Google Maps? Yeah. I have it up here. Okay. Oh, just went away. Hold on.
Sorry, do that again. No, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. We got it. Okay. So I actually drew out where these roads are. So the red here is the, what I want to say is the
that's the track you need to take to get to where the red
yeah where it's the detour, you know. So you can't go. So this is Old Georgetown Road. Oh, you can't see my mouse. That's weird. Okay, anyway, Old Georgetown Road is on the right there. You can't continue going straight. You have to go in this like red box all the way around. So there's this one part of Old Georgetown Road that's closed, which is right here. So this is essentially closed. And after like kind of looking at this wreckage, this probably is the location of the crash, which almost looks like these trees are damaged already.
Yeah, look at that. Close up on that.
Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to say for sure, you know, I mean, there could be like an explanation to this.
Well, those are right now, those look kind of like shadows from trees that are standing.
Yes,
so the sun's hitting it from the side, and
yeah, I mean, there could be fire damage we could be seeing here. It could be something else. Now, I'm kind of guessing with those roads. So this other road right here, this is closed off too. So you have to go all the way around up here and then go through here. So this whole area is closed off. So it could really kind of be anywhere from here, but from what I'm seeing,
are there homes in this area, or what is in this area?
There are homes around here. Like this looks like maybe a home or like a ranch or something, or, you know, right here. Mm-hmm. But in this area, I don't know. I don't know who owns this and what's here, but it looks like this is potentially the crash site. So, or any of this area. But I mean, it's like when you kind of look closely here, I don't know, it just looks suspicious. So, especially this specific area right here, you know, and it's like we don't know. I mean, it's weird because we're not seeing any wreckage at all. There's not like a wing. There's not even a tire anywhere. You would think that there'd be something if it crashed.
Suspicious.
Yeah. I mean, all we're seeing is some smoke, but if there's smoke, then there's got to be some kind of damage somewhere. I mean, we should be seeing at least some parts of the plane. And in that video, a lot of people have been pointing out that there's nothing. It's just like damaged forest, which again, you know, I'm not trying to say they're lying to us, but it's like just things aren't adding up. So, okay, I'll stop sharing my screen with this. So, okay, sorry. So there's been some comments from various airmen on different platforms like Twitter or X, I should say, and other things. This guy, you want to read this, Rob?
Yeah, sure. So this guy's name is Dell. It said, I was previously stationed on the space in the Marine Corps Air Wing at MCAS Beaufort, South Carolina. This F-35 incident makes me so happy that I'm no longer in the Navy and Marine Corps Aviation Maintenance Administration flight ops anymore. If this aircraft weren't hacked and brought down, the Aviation Maintenance Admin Troop, who maintain the logbooks for this aircraft, are in big trouble. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's $100 million plane. Like,
yeah. And
can you think about what you and I could do with $100 million? And all of that was just put into a plane that just crashed. And now they're telling us disintegrated when it hit the ground.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of things that didn't add up. And I actually found photos of other crashes of jets. And what a lot of people are pointing out, a lot of people in the military specifically, is that pilots don't typically eject out of their, like, it's extremely rare for a pilot to eject. Like I mean, most pilots won't eject until the very last seconds when they need to.
So who was the pilot, and is he okay?
We don't know. And the other question is,
suspicious.
There was two jets. There was a wingman. So they were both traveling together.
You mean there's two pilots?
No, there was two jets.
There were two jets. There was a wingman. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So there's two jets flying side by side. One pilot ejects out. We don't know why. And then they're like, oh, I lost the plane. Like, how does the other pilot flying the plane lose the other plane? Like, you would think you would be like, okay, I'm going to stay with it. So that doesn't make sense either. And Lindsay, can you, we're going to compare. So there was a Russian jet that crashed into a building. And now I'm only kind of comparing this because this is a pretty insane photo that happened. If you scroll down to the photos, Lindsay.
They're loading. 1 sec.
Yeah. Okay. So it shows the pilot ejecting just moments before the aircraft hits the building. Like you can see him in the photo ejecting, like parachuting out as the plane is hitting. So that's him parachuting out, and then that's the plane like smashing into the building and blowing up.
So you're saying that they would eject much closer to impact?
They would have waited until like seriously the last second. I mean, for one thing, this is like $100 million plane. I mean, from what I've been reading and hearing stories, it's like pilots, like they won't just abandon unless there was like some accident that caused them to like shoot out, or if the plane was hacked, then it's a different story. And there's some more photos in here, Lindsay. If you, I don't, let's see. There's one that's specific. Oh, go to the next one down. Okay, so you could actually see parts of the plane there. You can see the wheel.
It just looks like every building in New York City.
Go up to the let's see. Yeah, there's the wheel right there. So you can see the wheel, and there's parts of the jet that's also on the like sticking out, especially in the other photo. You can see it really clearly, and then there's bits and pieces on the ground. And what's weird is like we're not seeing anything from this crash, like no debris at all, like not even a wheel. So there's another video of a pilot ejecting, and there was a 5-year-old girl who was killed in this accident, unfortunately. And I forget the reason why this happened, but if it doesn't show the girl, but it shows the pilot ejecting at the very last second before it crashes. So they were doing some kind of exercise here, and you can see the jet, like kind of something happens, and the dude just bails out right at the last second.
It looks like it ejected him right onto the crash site.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It like ejected him forward into the burning like sediments. That's weird.
So yeah. And okay, so the big question that everyone is asking, like, what happened? Which there could be a couple things to explain. Like, for example, there's been some speculation that they could have been testing some kind of new AI device thing in the plane, and the AI went haywire and it took over, and either the pilot lost control and had to eject, or the AI ejected the pilot. That's been one scenario. The other one, which is probably more likely, which was hacked by the Chinese. And if that was the case and they took over, it's possible that whoever hacked into it was able to eject the pilot.
If it was hacked by the Chinese, the plane definitely crashed, because there's no way that operation would have gone smoothly.
I kind of agree.
That's the good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, if that's the case, then what were they really trying to do? But
somebody said, so I wasn't clear on this. Somebody in our YouTube chat said that happened. This is TM Richie, said, Rob, that happened at an air show in California. The ejection? I didn't know that. That was an air show.
Yeah, okay. All right. That makes sense.
There was one in Italy too.
There was one in Italy too. F-35? What was it? Probably not an F-35. I don't know if other countries have access to our planes, except Ukraine, because, some reason we've given like all of our military over to them.
Footage shows pilot ejecting himself seconds before his military jet crashes in Turin. Yeah. Okay. So that happened in Italy.
Oh, that one happened in Italy?
Yeah.
That particular.
I thought it was here, but okay. There was another one that happened here recently too.
That's cool.
And there's all these. So I mean, China hacking, I mean, even the Pentagon came out and said that China hacked the Pentagon. China, I mean, there's been all these articles in the last, like, really since 2014. There's been, like, every year there's a new article that comes out, and there was one just days ago that came out. So China, some of these headlines are: Chinese hackers stole Boeing, Lockheed military plane secrets. This is from the FBI themselves that said this. Su Bin, that's the guy that supposedly did this. He was the one that stole the F-22 and the F-35 fighter jets.
The blueprints for them,
basically. The blueprints for it. Yeah. And that's what China made their I forget what they call it, J something jet that they made based on the blueprints of the F-35. China also reportedly stole, okay, yeah, there it is. The owner of the Chinese aviation firm is under arrest for pop-ups. Here's the other one. China reportedly stole U.S. military technology for its J-20 fighter jet. Yeah, that's the one. That was the one that, okay, so this was published in 2023. And this has been 100% true. There's another one, China. This one, I think, was just published, if I'm not. Yeah, okay, this was published in May. Chinese state-sponsored hackers infiltrate U.S. naval. Another pop-up.
She's over there sighing. She's like trying so hard to have a smooth show, and the pop-ups just keep getting us.
Yeah, this is why it's probably better using screenshots. Maybe we can move over to this. Chinese state-sponsored hackers infiltrate U.S. naval infrastructure, Secretary of Navy says. So, you know, the problem is that when these things happen, we don't know really what China is stealing. So the U.S. is getting hacked. So the Pentagon is overhauling its approach to cyber. And it's just been constant. This one was from June of 2023. U.S. confirms China has had a spy base in Cuba since at least 2019. Okay, so this is where the other quote unquote kind of conspiracy comes in, is that what some people have speculated, maybe it's possible that the Chinese hacked this plane to try to fly it to Cuba so they could take it over. A lot of people were like, there's no way that the plane could reach Cuba. But so I was doing some research on this, and it does look like that. Well, I'll tell you, why don't we go for a trailer, and then when we come back, we'll get into, is it possible that it went to Cuba?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
A vast secret history.
And
a lost ancient civilization. An empire they tried to erase. Tartaria's hidden past is just as fictional as Atlantis. Or is it? Humanoid giants, magical creatures that shouldn't exist, dogmen, centaurs, magicians, and evil spirits. Why did the Soviet communists remove all traces of Tartaria from their books? Why was it so important to wipe Tartaria off the face of the earth? Take a glimpse into the truth of the past. You were never supposed to know.
So, did Genghis Khan's ancestors and the Tartarians really discover America? Was Tartaria a global civilization?
Forgotten maps. The journals of Marco Polo. Ancient structures. Evidence of advanced technology. Edge of Wonder brings you Tartaria.
What if I told you that octopuses are so smart They may even have extrasensory abilities. That's right. I'm talking about a psychic octopus.
That sounds like a terrible B horror movie.
What's happening?
It's a huge squid. It's got the glider.
In 2010, during the FIFA World Cup in South Africa, an octopus in Germany correctly predicted the outcomes for all 7 of the German team's soccer matches. But he also picked Spain to win the final against the Netherlands. The octopus, who was named Paul...
Who names an octopus, Paul?
This octopus, Paul, indicated his favored teams by choosing between food and glass cases containing flags of 2 opposing teams.
You've heard about Cthulhu and the Kraken. You've wondered about superpowers and the occult. You've seen movies and TV shows reveal truths that even they may not have realized. Is a cephalopod takeover on the horizon? Are eels interdimensional? Have reckless oil companies unleashed an evil on the world that they don't want you to know about? Join Edge of Wonder for a deep dive into the cryptids of the abyss.
We're back.
We are back, and you can all watch those series, you guys, on our Rise.tv platform and all of the other series that we've done over the years. So good stuff. All right, where were we? Cuba. That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, something about China setting something up on Cuba.
Yeah, so secretly, it does look like China has a base in Cuba. The Pentagon kind of originally confirmed it, then they kind of went back and were like, oh, we don't really know for sure, but most likely they do. I mean, it seems pretty obvious that they do, honestly, at this point. And Cuba being communist as it is, I mean, it makes sense that they're working together, and they've already, they've had a lot of trade agreements. So there's some speculation that they were trying to fly the plane on, after hacking it to Cuba. But a lot of people were like, there's no way, it's too long of a distance. Well, when I was looking up how far the plane could fly, it actually goes about 900 miles on one refueling. So if it's fully fueled, it could travel 900 miles. And actually the distance from where the crash was to Cuba is like 850 miles.
So it's possible.
It is possible that, I mean, highly unlikely. I mean, I would imagine that it would have the U.S. would probably have blown it up over the ocean.
But it started in Georgia, right?
South Carolina.
It
took off in South Carolina. Yeah, the air base in South Carolina, and then was found like 2 hours after that. So the whole thing doesn't make.
Well, the other thing too is, aren't these planes known for refueling in the sky? So it's
you can do that. In fact, I even witnessed that personally.
I thought you were going to be like, in fact, I used to do that for a living.
No, I was like, when I was working for the media, we got invited to one of those like gigantic, I can't remember what they're called, but the huge Boeing like jets things that the military used that can basically hold tanks in. We flew in one of those, and we got to watch a midair refueling of a jet.
Have them open that back hatch and jump out.
They did open. They opened the hatch, but it was like a glass, and then I was taking photos through it. I have them somewhere. Maybe I can find them a little later to show.
We have to show those on Friday on the show.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, we have.
So yeah. Anyway, so that's been the whole speculation. I think that a lot of people are more leaning that this was hacked, and that probably they ejected the pilot out. Why the other plane didn't follow it, though, there's just a lot of unanswered questions. The other thing is, like, it's possible that that location was a ruse and it was really somewhere else, or something else happened, or it was shot down over the ocean. That's been a lot of speculation too, considering that there hasn't been any wreck. And media is even pointing out, where's the wreckage? Like, we see the damage.
Yeah, the wreckage part of this whole thing is the weirdest part. Like, there should definitely be something there.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been a little bit. Oh, well, and then the other aspect is, I forgot about this one, UFO related.
So could this have been a UFO interference? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's been the other speculation, is that did it get shot or hit by some kind of UFO or alien technology weapon or something, and
it disintegrated, and that's why there's no wreckage.
That could be too. That actually you might be right about that. That would actually kind of make sense. If it completely disintegrated, hits this weapon, the pilot ejects, they're obviously not going to say, and they wouldn't even say it was attacked, because then it's like, oh my gosh, what country attacked us? It's like, did Russia, did China? And
it's impossible for a crashed airplane to disintegrate. Like, that's not a thing. It doesn't just disintegrate. So somebody's lying.
What they said was that it was hot, and when it crashed, it just like buried into the earth. But you don't see that in the wreckage. If that was the case, there would just be like a hole in the ground. But it looks like
that thing impacted the earth. There'd be pieces of it everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
There's no way it would just go down into the earth. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And so, and the Pentagon came out and said about every 6 months, China hacks into one of their systems. So
yeah, upgrade your tech, Pentagon.
Yeah. And the other question that people are asking was, what kind of weapon system was this carrying? I mean, this is like if it was hacked and they like launched a missile at wherever, that could literally start a war. So, I mean, there's so many concerns here, and and then like the main concern is also the pilot, like what caused the pilot to eject. And I don't know if we'll ever get the name of the pilot, and they may just say, oh, we're gonna have a court martial, and that's the end of it or something, but
yeah, they end up keeping a lot of stuff from us. It's kind of weird. Like why can't we know what the name of I think if we knew what the name of the pilot was, the media could go there and ask them direct questions about what happened, and then that would probably
that's exactly
reveal.
Yeah. And if it truly was something out of this world or something
how hard
weird,
could it be to get that name, though? Like, how many active air pilots would fly these planes? Like, you could probably find that list somewhere, I imagine, and then from there you could.
Actually, you might be right about that. You could potentially probably really dig into this and find out, like, who is active on the base and who has abilities of flying. You at least narrow it down to like, handful of names or something. And I mean, I'm kind of worried about this pilot too, because typically if it is something extreme like aliens or something like that, I mean, obviously they would never want him talking.
I think it's probably more likely either a mishap and a mistake that they just want to cover up, or they in an unauthorized way gave a plane to another country or something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just seldomly do you just lose a $100 million plane.
No, you don't. Just doesn't happen typically. Typically doesn't happen. All right. Well, speaking of like, we're talking about these aliens and things like that. So there's some interesting time slip stories. So,
Yeah, is this pilot going to wake up 3 days from now and tell us he time slipped? Is that what happened? He ejected into a time slip.
I know. That's what I'm wondering too. Or
I'm just kidding.
there's so many weird things, and then of course, like the Malaysia flight 370 is another big one, and we were kind of talking about that too. How that satellite image looks like there's like these 3 orbs spinning around it, and then on the satellite it just like disappears. Yes. It is official satellite from Lockheed Martin, so it's like, is that really what happened? Did something else happen? Is that something, could have that happened to this jet where it's like something was going to take it, and that's why the pilot ejected, so he didn't get taken with it? Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's so many unanswered questions. But oh yeah, Lindsay's pulling this up. This is the oh good, fine. It's the Malaysia. So this is the one video. Doesn't. Oh yeah, okay.
That's really weird. Like that's like, this is up there of strangest things that have happened while we were alive.
I would definitely agree with that. Considering the fact that there has been 0 wreckage found. And like, even if this thing crashed in the ocean, there would be something
floating around.
Plane floating around. I mean, those seats were made to float. So it's like
one of them's going to float.
Something would have happened, something. And they thought they found stuff, and then it turned out to be from a different wreckage, and it wasn't from that.
What's even weirder about that, though, is someone out there knows what happened to that plane, and they're not telling us.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone out there, or many people out there, know what happened to that plane, and they're not telling us.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
3 things that going around it, like, and then it just disappears into thin air.
Weird stuff, right? Well, speaking of disappearing in thin air, there are some like weird time slip stories that happen too. I don't know. Do you want to read this, Rob? Or
sure.
Should I just explain it? Yeah, why don't you read it?
Okay, so the time-slipping pilots, according to their account, they suddenly found themselves flying alongside a World War II-era aircraft, which they identified as a P-51 Mustang. The crew attempted to communicate with the other plane, but received no response. After a few minutes, what did you do? You just took it down. I was reading that. I was totally reading off the screen. Thank you. P-51 suddenly appeared, leaving the commercial aircraft alone in the sky. The crew reported the incident to air traffic control, but no explanation was found. Can you scroll down, Lindsay? There you go. All right. Another reported case of time-slipping pilots involves a commercial airline crew flying over the Pacific Ocean in 1979. According to their account, they suddenly found themselves flying through a dense cloud bank, which they described as opaque and bright. When they emerged from the cloud, they found they were several hundred miles off course and had lost several hours. The crew reported the incident to air traffic control, but no explanation was found. A third reported case of time-slipping pilots involves a commercial airline crew flying over the Sierra Nevada mountains in 1985. According to their account, they suddenly flew through a strange misty atmosphere described as like looking through water. That's really weird. When they emerged from the mist, they found that they had lost several minutes and inexplicably traveled several miles off course. The crew reported the incident to air traffic control, but no explanation was found. While these reports are difficult to verify and are subject to a great deal of skepticism, they offer a tantalizing glimpse into the mysteries of time and the possibility of time travel. Some researchers suggested that these incidents may be related to natural phenomena, such as electromagnetic disturbances or temporal anomalies. Others have speculated that they may result from secret government experiments or advanced technology. Whatever the cause, the phenomena of time slips remains a fascinating and enigmatic mystery. Okay, so what do you think causes these time slips, Ben? Give me your best answer on this.
I honestly think that what could be explained would be like something like plasma energy that is in whether it's like already in the air, is causing
but why plasma? What makes plasma special?
Because that seems to be the most like logical explanation of how something could form. Like, for example, when you look at any movie that deals with or anything, including like the CERN, the particle accelerator, like any of these movies, including all the Avenger movies, Marvel, everything, essentially how they're opening a portal is like they're turning on something that's shooting out plasma that's causing a rift in space-time, and it opens up like a portal and they can go through it, whatever that is, whether even like Loki's staff, it's like he's doing it himself, but it's like there's some kind of energy there. And a lot of things that I've been reading related to this, it's like if you could harness this energy and focus it and direct it, and and then at the same time, it's like there could be these like rifts in time space, like almost like imagine like a giant wave that's just like a wave of energy that's like just like flowing through space, comes into Earth or something, and then it just at a right moment, it just kind of like maybe hits something and it just kind of creates this like portal that opens up, like maybe electricity, like lightning burst right at that moment hits this like wave, and it creates this like energetic portal where and if a ship or a plane or something just happens to be flying right at that moment, maybe it's like going into this space, and then it could, just be for a second and it reemerges and like a bunch of time has passed, or or it could have like go through it and then appear somebody somewhere else, randomly and where else in the world. So I think this is like one way to kind of explain from more of a scientific perspective how this could potentially work. And then like you have like the energy grid lines and the ley lines on Earth too. And it's like, I mean, in the past, this is exactly why all of these locations, from the pyramids to Stonehenge to all these different things on our planet, they all chose these very specific spots on Earth because of the way the energy systems work there. And like, we don't know. I mean, it's quite possible that there were like, stargates and things like that they actually had. Maybe they figured this out, like how to harness this energy. And with these, like with the plasma energy around it, using the ley lines and all this stuff, they could focus the energy in a certain point, probably using some kind of crystal technology, or like AKA what CERN is kind of trying to do, I think. It's like Stranger Things is the same way, right? They're like trying to open these portals using this like plasma directed energy. And essentially that's what we believe CERN is trying to do, and creating these black holes in the process of doing it. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my understanding of it. So what do you think, Rob?
I think probably one of the biggest lies that we've been told is that traveling through a wormhole, the only way to do that is through a massively heavy mass that can only be created like with an enormous amount of energy. I think actually, if you look at like the kind of pillars of physics, electromagnetics is something that they shied away from since the early 1900s in a really mysterious way. Like as soon as Tesla appeared on the world stage and he started figuring everything out using electromagnetics, they like suddenly it got hidden, and then Einstein's theory of relativity just kind of like went forward. But actually, I don't think Einstein's theory is, it's just a theory. I don't think it's the top truth. I think that there's several ways to skin a cat, and Einstein's way is just one that they adopted. But actually, I think that all over the Earth, there are electrical anomalies that occur in one of many ways that, like you're saying, like it could be that there is an electromagnetic disturbance in a certain area, there could be certain frequencies that create this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
frequencies are related to that. And then look what happened in the Montauk Project, which is related to Stranger Things, where
Yep.
they were actually using a SAGE radar, and reportedly Preston Nichols, his book, he's talking about them actually not just using the SAGE radar, but they're using the SAGE radar at a certain pulse to rip a hole open in time space and do these different things. And then they're even experimenting with hooking this thing up to a human being and doing a lot of that stuff, right? And now I don't necessarily think everything in Preston's book is completely accurate, because oftentimes with these types of projects, they're using MK Ultra along, like, while they're actually doing these experiments so that they can erase people's minds. But he remembered a bunch of things, and then it got corroborated by what's his name? Al Bilek, I think his name was, who was working alongside this too. And now if we look at that, like, now we're looking at, okay, electromagnetics may have this type of thing. Gravitational anomalies can be created through strange things that are happening with, like, crystals and the energy with crystals. And if you think that's crazy, I mean, just look into this crystal mine in Arkansas. What's the name of that crystal mine, Lindsay? I can't remember the name of this crystal mine. We were looking at this a couple of weeks ago, where it's like, there's a crystal mine out in Arkansas where they have, like, reported footage of crystals just, like, levitating, dude. Like, the crystals are, like, because the energy in the crystal mine is just creating an anomaly there, right? It's creating gravitational disturbances. And when you have gravitational disturbances, you're actually editing time. You're like, gravity and time are almost like they're kind of tied, you know? So, or whatever you want to call it, these, like, the particles, if the particles are being altered somehow, the time of those particles are also being altered at the same time, and you're much more likely to get a time slip this way. You know, we're not being told the truth about these things. This is all, these are things that they're holding very close to the chest, because if we knew more about them, there'd be machines right now where you could create the disturbances yourself and, like, screw things up, you know? But these are natural across the earth. Never mind the ones that could be potentially man-made right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so true. And
it's called the what? Board Camp Crystal Mine. That's what it's called. It's in Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, and that's been a lot of speculation too, like crystals, how they were so important. Like, and if you talk about Atlantis, like they're
important now.
Yeah, they are.
Dude, fiber optic cable, which we don't even understand, and your iPhone and every computer out there runs on a crystal.
It's so true, actually. You're absolutely right. And there was something, I know what I was thinking of. When you were talking about, like, plasma, you know, experimentation and all that stuff. I mean, you're right. It's exactly what Tesla was. I mean, Tesla was doing these things. Like, he was taking these experiments using, like, electricity and all these different things to, like, conduct his experiments. And I think essentially, when you look at CERN, I mean, it's just kind of like what Tesla was doing on, like, a scale of 1 million, you know?
Right.
Like, well, I mean, really, it's you know, they keep writing off like Tesla's stuff, but it's like, dude, yeah, he really he figured out so much.
CERN is more of, like, pushing Einstein's theories to the like the nth degree. Because Tesla was way more along the, like, electromagnetics line, but, like, CERN is all on these, like, particles, creating these black holes, trying to create, you know, these, probably, who knows, they're probably trying to create the Einstein-Rosen bridge, you know? Oh, the Einstein-Rosen bridge, the wormhole.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what they, you know, from my understanding, that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to send particles from one space to another, which is why the black holes are so important, because it's like, you know, even in a confined space, I mean, this is essentially Einstein's theory of the, is it the relativity, or is it?
This is the wormhole, but this is what the theory of relativity is wrapped up in this entire thing.
Yeah, it is. And like, yeah, so it's like, if you fold the space over, then you could, you know, enter one end and come out another while avoiding all the other.
Imagine the Starship Enterprise. It's shooting through space and it's able to fire an enormously heavy mass, and it enters through the hole of that mass. It fires another one out while it's in that hole, and then it comes out of it. Like if you can imagine that, or on the other side of that hole, another mass is fired and it goes through the other end. It's like that.
And Chinese scientists have been working on the same thing. In fact, they published a study not too long ago how they were able to literally use the word teleport a particle from one space to another space. It was a few years ago, and it wasn't, you know, it's like when Chinese scientists successfully teleported a particle to space.
But aren't particles being teleported anytime you shoot a radio transmission?
Yeah, that's like, why it's a little bit misleading. It wasn't like, you know, they were doing it like, you know, like, oh yeah, well now we have the basis for the you know, what's the on Star Trek? What do they use when when they beam down? I can't remember what that's called.
Beam me up.
Which was never said in the show at all.
Probably call it the transporter.
Transport or yeah, I don't, man, I can't.
Lindsay said I'm pretty sure it is, and she's way more transporter than I am.
That was a nice way of calling me a nerd.
I should know this. I'm like, I've watched every single Star Trek Next Generation episode there is. But yeah, anyway. So but you know, they're obviously studying this stuff. And like, can you imagine, this is like what we know and it's like what we don't know. I mean, if we know like to an extent what CERN is doing, then what don't we know that they're doing? You know, that's
every episode of the Next Generation, I just wanted them to use the transporter to transport Worf to another planet.
Why?
He was the most annoying character on that show.
Really? You thought so?
Yeah, he was so angsty, like all the time. It was like, dude, just like, why do you have to be angry every episode? Like you're overcoming that every episode. Like, please. He's so annoying.
Just how the
and then the romance between Riker and the psychic lady, Deanna Troy or whatever her name is. Like, come on.
Dude. Well, then there was like Worf that got in there too for a little while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Worf always behind stuff, man.
Well, actually, Worf was originally just supposed to be a minor character, and the people were writing letters because there wasn't email at the time.
You know, the first time I saw it, I was like, why'd they make that dude look like a catfish? Because of his little struggle stash over there.
Yeah, they did change the prior. Well, no, I take it back. In the movies. But I don't know in the movies. I guess in the movies first they were already had the Klingons look like that before before Next Generation came out. It's funny. Speaking of aliens, why don't we move on to the
really dramatic
Mexican alien? It's actually it really held up though, more like in the sense of like moral values and stuff. Like it really is a very like clean, good show, like wholesome show. Except for this.
Can you please pull that gif off? Thank you. Oh lordy.
I like all those memes with Riker's beard. I don't know if you've seen that. So there's like a meme generator called Riker's beard, and it always has like these really funny memes with like Riker's like doing this or something, and like we'll just have these jokes with like Captain Picard saying something and then Riker like going like this, you know?
Right.
So funny. Anyway. All righty. Okay, moving on to Mexican aliens. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Don't be alarmed, but I think someone on the ship is actually an owl.
So bad. Bad joke.
I'm reading a book on Stockholm Syndrome. How is it? At first, I hated it, but after a while, I really started to like it.
It's so bad.
Anyway. In Europe, it's called a lift. Well, in America, it's called an elevator. I guess we were just raised differently.
So bad. These are
I
so
know. That's
bad.
what I'm saying. These are really bad.
Everyone's gonna stop watching. Just stop torturing us.
All right, enough of that.
I almost stopped watching.
All right, now we got
the aliens. Come on, let's
the
do
aliens. So, all right,
what's going on? Did they?
Yeah, okay.
They put it through an X-ray, and what did they find?
They found that they are from this is the exact quote. There's a video that we can show, but it says, quote, a non-human species that has differences infutable with what is described in biology and taxonomy. Taxonomy? How you say that word? Taxonomy? Okay. Of the Darwin species evolution tree. Taxonomy. But basically their findings are saying that it's 100% organic and biological.
Oh, really?
That's what it's saying. Now, there's a video of this and what it looks like, or what it looks into with the like CAT scan, right? Because it's going into every aspect and the detail of what's inside of this thing. A lot of people thought it was just paper mache. According to this, they found bone structures in this, and actual bones. So I don't know. This is I have to honestly say, you know, I'm a little bit shocked by this. So this was so again, this is the same guy that supposedly found a mummified quote unquote alien in 2015. They're saying it turned out to be a mummified human child. But this is where it's like, okay, they're actually I mean, I just can't get over the fact that they're just even holding this thing.
I was gonna say, like, why is
just hold this? Like, here we go,
fall off,
throw it on the table here. But yeah, I have to admit, I'm a little bit shocked by this, that they would even allow the results to be known this way.
But what the alien that they held up, wasn't that a different than, or there's two of them? That's right. You said
there's two. Yeah. I thought the same thing. When I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, the neck is thinner and the face is different. But then I remembered there are two of them.
One. We keep seeing the images of that one, but this could have been the other one.
The Department of Defense spokesperson Sue Go told Newsweek that they had not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of any extraterrestrial material may exist in the past or exist currently. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's because you're just a spokesperson that really doesn't know anything.
So it is organic matter.
That's what it's saying. It really is saying it. It's saying it's 100% organic and biological. Now, what it is a whole different, question.
But it's strange that everyone was so hating on this so hard.
Yeah.
And
they're saying that.
Why would they be telling us it was real if they were trying to hide all of this stuff? None of this makes sense.
No, it doesn't. And they're saying this could be a whole paradigm shift. If, with these results that are coming out of non-humans. So the question now is like, oh, this could show that there was, they're not trying to claim that this is an alien being. That's what they're very careful on that. They're not saying, hey, here's an alien that we found.
Right.
What?
They're like, it's organic matter.
It's organic matter. It's an organic biologics thing. That's really what they're saying. It's like non-human. And they're saying that it could be from a diverse culture in the past that was like now wiped out.
It's a hobbit.
It's a hobbit.
So they're like, okay,
Gollum.
Let's avoid the alien conversation and just go with something equally, but a little bit, equally strange, which They'll be like next week they're gonna have a Latin word for it, and it's gonna be like it's a hominid blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah, that could be. But it is kind of cool, you know.
It'd be great if they were just like, it's a Kentucky goblin. It's actually the goblin from Kentucky.
Well, the other aspect is, you know, we have no idea what created the Inca lines in Peru. Like, Peru is a very weird place. Like, this is where it was found, you know.
The Nazca lines, I think.
The Nazca lines. I said Inca lines. Yeah, I'm sorry, the Nazca lines. And then on top of that, there's those rocks that were dated about 30,000 years ago that have like one of them has a dude riding a figure person.
The Ica stones.
The Ica stones. That's what I'm thinking of. The Ica stones and Nazca lines. Yes, this is the Nazca lines. And these weren't discovered until we had the ability of flight. Like after the 30s, there was somebody that was flying over this area, and that's when they noticed it for the first time ever. And to this day, they don't know who made these. This is the one I was talking about. That looks like a dragon. Or a giant bird.
He's that human is flying on a thunderbird with a knife in his hand.
Yeah, and then there's like that guy, a stegosaurus, and possibly like a brontosaurus.
This guy is on the guy on the left. Keep this up. The guy on the left is on a stegosaurus with a flute.
Oh, no, I think it might be a
telescope.
Telescope, maybe.
Oh my gosh. He is so high on that stegosaurus. He needs a telescope to see the ground.
I guess so. It does look like it's poking him in the eye.
Look at that on the right. Is the Tyrannosaurus Rex chasing a Bigfoot.
Well, that dude is getting eaten by.
Oh,
I guess that could be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's really interesting.
About to eat that Bigfoot.
Yeah, and then there is one that there's a guy looking at the stars, and he's looking at a comet.
I saw that one. That one's
great. Yeah. And like what's interesting is that so in Peru, these are actually really common, or not common, like commonly found, but they're like a lot of people know about these.
Wait,
and
go back one. What is that?
That one right there.
You just hit the back button. What? The one with the cylinder and the snake wrapping around it or whatever.
Yeah, I was confused
dragon. Look at this.
This is a dragon here. Yeah, like some kind of
like a serpent thing. What's this?
I don't know. Like a trident.
It looks like the caduceus thing.
Yeah, it does. It's a serpent with wrapped around a trident.
It almost looks like one of those illustrations in the Voynich manuscript, which was a big nothing burger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. This one is a surgery. A guy with a mohawk and a guy with a broom are doing surgery on some person.
Now, if you look these up in Wikipedia, they're like, oh, some dude just created these, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah. The dentist thing.
Yeah. That's, but
totally
I mean, his thing was like, no, he found all of these. And I mean, they have been checked into by other scientists who have proved that these things are very, very old.
What is so crazy about this to me, Ben, is
like
that
30,
if these were think about how much bigger a Triceratops was than an elephant.
Yeah.
And the human on it looks almost the same size. Were these giant humans? I think they were.
You might be right about that. Like, look how big that dude is. Yeah. Look how dude that dude is.
That dude is.
He's a dude, man.
So smart on this podcast. Okay.
I was hoping that we had the one with the guy looking through the telescope, but I don't know where that one is.
This looks like surgery again.
Yeah, it does.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why did they make these stones? It's so fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. And they were found, and that's the one I was thinking of. Yes. So this is the other one that is roughly about 30,000 years old, and this dude is looking at a telescope at a comet. and he has some kind of hat on. So
this looks like this guy's on a stretcher and they're taking him somewhere. Maybe a funeral.
Like yeah.
Two guys riding on a dinosaur with a big old axe. Wow.
Yeah, these were displayed
through as many of these as we're doing right now.
I don't know if they still are. They were in a museum. They were in a museum in Peru for a while, but I don't know if they are anymore. But you can't buy these though. They're not for sale. That's why it's like, if this dude really made them, you would think he would just like try to sell them, right? Like, he's been like fighting for the truth about him for a long time. But you know, the same thing with Crystal Skull. I was asking Bill Homan, who takes care of the Crystal Skull, well, at least one of them. Because you know, if you look on Wikipedia about Mitchell Hedges Crystal Skull, it just says it's like, oh, it's fake, you know. And I was asking him about that, and he said no, it actually helps him because, you know, that way it doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself. So if he's like somewhere where he's traveling, you know, or going through some kind of security, he can just be like, oh yeah, this is fake, you know, blah, 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 you know, and it's like, okay. But, so he's like, actually, you know, he's kind of glad because he's like, if it said it was real, he's like, probably a lot more people would be coming after it. So whether trying to steal it or buy it. So, he doesn't mind that. It could be the same thing with these things too. So, all right. Wow. That was we got a lot in that episode.
So for those of you at home, you probably have some questions. I have even more questions than when I started this episode. So if you do have questions, why don't you think about joining rise.tv and come hang out with our awesome community here. We're going to do a live Q&A, and then we're going to have a live meditation and prayer that we do every Tuesday that y'all can be a part of. And we're going to have another exclusive show on Thursday. We're going to have another, we're going to do Friday Night Live with an exclusive part on Friday. We really appreciate everybody over on rise.tv. You guys are the reason why we can do all of this work. And Ben, did you have anything else to add before we go?
Yeah, we got a lot of donations today. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Silver Surfer, who donated like $50. And I think there was a lot of other donations. So I'm sorry if we missed you guys, but
Christine Opar,
really appreciate it.
There's a lot here. Gabe, Silver Surfer, thank you so much. It's a big donation train. Thank you guys very much for your support.
Yeah.
Tinker Gia, Hadley, $22. Thank you so much.
Oh, D Rose also gave us $50. So
Ben's Brothers Bunker, great name. D Rose, yep. Hospice Angel, thank you guys very much.
I like my brother's setup.
Nickel B for real.
Nickel B for real.
Yeah.
All right.
Jupiter Ascending, Leda. All right, you guys. Manda Panda, thank you guys very much. Nuclear Girl, good to see you here. All right, well, come on over to rise.tv. We'll do our live Q&A, and then we'll see you guys on Thursday and Friday. Hi there, Rob Counts here. Our world is a big bag of cats right now. There's a creepy agenda targeting every single thing you believe or hold dear, and it's putting us all in a powerless and completely hopeless state. Well, if you're tired of the perpetual confusion and feel like people need a compass to find their true north again, I'm going to give you the number one thing you can do to reclaim that power, find hope, and even feel good again. Now, you probably think that's impossible. Maybe you feel like this situation we're in is too far gone. I felt the same way until I started Edge of Wonder and saw the impact that the content and research in our shows have brought to our growing audience. Our impact was so great, and people were changing from it so much that we even got censored off of YouTube. This tells us that uncovering the truth is paramount. And that's why I wanted to tell you that there is something you can do about this situation. You can ensure that the truth from our unique research gets out there from our show. And by subscribing and supporting our work, you're supporting rise.tv, a completely independent platform not impacted or influenced by any shareholders or corporate nonsense. Shockingly, a lot of people think that we have to fight these agendas and the people being controlled by them tooth and nail to resolve the situation, falling into the very trap that was set. But what if the situation was bigger than any one of us imagined? What if the resolution is internal, found in ourselves, and what makes us special and amazing as human beings? And that is exactly where Edge of Wonder and Rise TV come in. Our only goal is to build more excellent programming and raise up humanity by wading through the annals of history to find the truth about us and the miracles that make humanity and you amazing. We can show you why you're the answer. It's history. All you have to do is subscribe to Rise.tv and you'll get so much in return. Subscribing is absolutely the best way to untie all the agendas people are confused about and give them hope and their power back. With your subscription, you'll get access to hundreds of exclusive videos, live shows, and even hard-hitting documentaries and films that are waking people up and changing the game. Just click on the link in the description of this show and you're on your way. Thanks so much for watching us and for your support. Some of these comments are really funny. Hadley, I really share this comment of yours.